I used to love Ubisoft, man. Ubisoft were the king back in 2012 for my days of gaming, okay? I know, Ubisoft, really the king. Yes, I was 12 years old and I enjoyed the hell out of their games because at the time they were new, they were unique, and they didn't feel like everything else. But unfortunately, over the last couple years, last decade more like, Ubisoft has really not innovated anyway. I say it on this channel all the time, but I think it's time I finally made a proper video about Ubisoft. See, I want to make it very clear, I don't hate Ubisoft at all. In fact, some of their games I still enjoy today. I'm currently playing through some of the Watch Dogs games. I play for Assassin's Creed almost every single year. I play Far Cry 3 almost every single year because I love those games. They have a special place in my heart, okay? But the reality is, Ubisoft is nowhere near what they were 10 years ago, okay? For a bunch of reasons. First off, most of their games are boring. They are boring, okay? Let's be honest here. When's the last time you actually had proper fun in a Ubisoft game? Like proper fun where you're not thinking, oh, this is a bit similar to something else, but you know, I'll take it because it's Ubisoft. Not lowering your standards for a game company that clearly has no intentions of innovating or trying anything new currently. I can't think of a time, probably 2017 with Assassin's Creed Origins, because Assassin's Creed Origins did feel somewhat new despite being a very clear rip-off of The Witcher 3, which I talk more about in this video on here. Click it, come on, it's a good video, man, it's a good video. It hit like 30,000 views, I was really happy with that, but yeah. But Sticky Man, why are you making this video now? I've been playing a little game, you may have not heard of it. I mean, actually, I was going to joke about it, but you probably haven't. Avatar: Frontiers of Pandora. Have you heard of it? Probably not, because the advertising has been absolutely terrible. The marketing is pretty much non-existent. But I knew I wanted to play it, okay? Because it's Avatar. It's an Avatar game. How could you do anything wrong with Avatar? You got this wonderful world that's been built for you. You have tons of enemy designs that have already been created. You just have to program it to work the way they're supposed to work compared to the film. But it was a Ubisoft game, and I kind of knew going in that there is a high potential. There is a high potential that this might be Avatar Far Cry. Not Frontiers of Pandora, just Avatar Far Cry. And it just pissed me off. It just pissed me off because the reality is, man, our studio cannot be this creatively bankrupt to access these massive IPs like Star Wars, Avatar, and be able to release this mediocre crap and just get away with it. Not from a financial point, but just from a fan perspective. We keep buying them. I mean, I don't think the sales are too great for Avatar, but the reality is, every Ubisoft game, I hate saying it because it gets boring to talk about because it's a boring studio, but they play the exact same. Let's go back to like 2010, 2011, 2012, yeah? Let's go back in time. Assassin's Creed, a brand new franchise, almost brand new anyway, selling incredibly well. Everyone loves it. You're going around, you're stabbing people and all sorts, you're assassinating people, you got this great story, some lore behind it, and the gameplay actually feels new. Yes, climbing towers back then wasn't as saturated as it is today. You know what I mean? And plus you get to stab people. Then you have games like Far Cry, man. Far Cry, back in 2012, Far Cry 3 was such a ridiculous success because of its gameplay loop. You know what I mean? The gameplay loop of Far Cry didn't feel saturated. It didn't feel anything like you've played before because it's a first-person open-world game where you get to drive cars, you get to use wingsuits, you got all these weapons variety, and there's this cool character called Vass that is like super menacing and has some great lines. And speaking of Vass, he basically says it for me. What this video is about is doing the same thing over and over again is pretty much the definition of insanity, and that is what Ubisoft have been doing. Now, there have been attempts to spice it up with Assassin's Creed. Assassin's Creed Origins, for example, is an RPG, but they copied The Witcher 3. Then they just did the same thing over and over again, just set it in a different location. They made the exact same mistakes they made with Assassin's Creed back in 2010, 2011, 2012, and they just did it all over again because they thought they could just get away with it. And I just don't get it. I just don't get it. It's really irritating to talk about. And Avatar: Frontiers of Pandora is just the culmination of all of it. You take one of the most interesting IPs out there right now, considering how rare it is to get any media on it. You only get 2 films so far. It's so rare to see an Avatar film come out. It took them 12 years to make a sequel, man. And then you get this game that just plays like the same thing you've been playing for the last 12 years. Like, it's incredible how similar it feels to everything else. Yes, you get to fly Ikrons, the flying creatures. Guess what? They're just planes. Do you get to ride like animals and stuff like that? I don't know. I've played like 10 hours of it and I'm just bored. I just don't know. They go back to the same old routine of go to this location, take out this base. Only this time you're shooting mechs. Whoa! Oh, Ubisoft, you've really got me there. That's getting my creative juices flowing. I'm really fucking enjoying it. It's just irritating. But hey, I'm not going to sit here and just complain, okay? Ubisoft don't do everything terribly, okay? The reality is, this gameplay loop that they've created, it still works today. Because people still buy their games. People still enjoy it. Especially casual gamers. Like, I'm someone that plays games pretty much every single day. So of course, I'm going to get sick of playing very similar games. It's just the way it is. So Ubisoft clearly still have something here that they can constantly bring revenue in from, because their gameplay loop works. It works. Every franchise of theirs is the same. Fuck me, even The Division 2, honestly, The Division 2 is probably one of their most unique franchises they have at the minute, because it plays differently to pretty much everything else they've released. But even that game still has the same issues. You go to a base, you take out the base, you move on, except this time you get loot and you actually get to play with people, co-op and all that. Whenever you see a game get announced and then Ubisoft pops up, you're just thinking, oh, for fuck's sake, you know what I mean? Because you know you're not going to get anything new. Yes, you get to play in your favourite franchises. Yes, you get to play in the Pandora in Avatar. Wow. Visually, yeah, it's stunning. Their games are always visually stunning. Well, I take that back. Some games. Some of them are pretty ugly, actually, these days. But the point is, it's the same thing over and over again. And I'm sick of it. And you're probably sick of it. Leave a comment down below. What do you think? Am I being too critical here? Am I being a crybaby? Maybe I am being a crybaby. But I'll happily cry. Because I'm being a baby. And, you know, sometimes, you know, babies are pure, innit? I don't know where I was going with that. Yeah, sorry. But as I always say, every time I complain about Ubisoft or make a video on Ubisoft or anything like that, I always go back to why I'm so passionate about it. It's because Ubisoft actually have some brilliant studios. They're just never given the time of day or the funding or the ability to get those creative juices flowing and create something that's actually going to change the industry or affect the industry in a way that isn't, oh, yep, another Ubisoft game came out. Woo! Who cares if another Ubisoft game comes out? You should care. You should care. Back in 2011, 2012, everyone cared. Far Cry 3, Assassin's Creed Revelations, even though a lot of people don't actually like that game, but I think it's one of the better Assassin's Creed games, but yeah, that's just me. And they're just being left behind. They're just being left behind. Even EA. EA is just a publisher. I know that Ubisoft have their own studios, but even EA are starting to get the message that they need to start creating stuff that is new, or not even new, just something different from what they're already doing, which is why they had Respawn make the Star Wars games while also making the Apex Legends, and they also have Dead Space remakes coming out, and you know, they are finally going in a direction that suits not only shareholders, but gamers themselves. But sure, you could argue Dead Space remake, you know, it's a remake, you've already played it, but it feels unique now because it's been so long since we had a Dead Space game. And yeah, you could say it's a cop-out, but at least they made it. At least they put a decent budget to it. At least they tried to do it, you know what I mean? Whereas Ubisoft, they're too afraid to take any real risks. The new Star Wars game they're making, Ubisoft Massive, the same guys that did Division. It's just an open world Star Wars game. It's going to be the same thing. You go up to space, only this time you go to a planet, and on this planet there's going to be about 12 different areas that you have to liberate. You go and you liberate it, you get a bounty, and then you piss off and do a story mission. Oh, fuck me, that's really going to blow my socks off. Jesus, Ubisoft, that's going to really make my opinion on your game turn around. But yeah, listen, I could sit here and rant, well, I'm standing once again. I can stand here and keep ranting as the sticky man, because, you know, I'm good at that. I like complaining, apparently. I don't want to complain. I want to make a Ubisoft video one day where I'm like, this is actually fantastic. You know what I mean? And I was hoping, just a sliver of hope, I may be able to have done that with the Avatar game that I'm playing right now. But when my review comes out in like a couple days or a week or two, it depends how long it takes to complete it because I'm so fucking bored of it, I'm going to say the exact same thing that I've said here. And I don't want to. I've got to find a way to say it in a different way so you guys aren't bored watching it, you know what I mean? And that's what's tiresome for me, because even on this video alone, I've had to repeat myself twice but just making different points because there's not enough to talk about, you know what I mean? That Ubisoft just... They're in a decline. They're in a decline, and I wouldn't be surprised if someone buys them out. And to be honest, I'd be all for it. Bring some new management in, bring something creative, bring some new ideas, something. Please, please, because I don't, because they're very fucking capable of doing it. But yeah, that's the sticky, man. Thank you for watching. Sorry it's a negative video, but hey, stick around for more positive stuff coming soon. And yeah, if you enjoyed it, like the video, stick with the sticky man by subscribing, I'd really appreciate that. And check out some of my other videos. Come on, there's a playlist right there. Boop, boop, just click it. You can have a great time. Cheerio.